All right, so you want to create a marketing plan, whether this is for your own business or you were just asked to do this at work. Whatever the case, we're going to cover this so that you feel confident creating this marketing plan. I'll give you step-by-step instructions for it. But before we jump into this, we need to break down what a marketing plan is so you know what we're building towards. And I say this because the term is kind of ambiguous. There are a few different approaches to marketing plans. One would be at more of a branding agency where the marketing plan involves thinking through what the ideal customer looks like and crafting your messaging and talking about how you're going to position yourself in the market and all of that good stuff. That stuff can be really useful, but I find the problem with that is there's not much of a plan. When we wake up tomorrow, we're not following what we set out to do. So there's no like steps that you go through. In this case, we're gonna be talking about a plan where maybe you have a budget and we're gonna work through what the plan is to use that budget most effectively. So think about this as a marketing plan for execution. It's very low level, and hopefully you walk away from this video with the tools that you need so that you know when you wake up tomorrow what your goal is, and then once you complete that, we can do the next thing and so on. In my experience, I found that working through examples and with real numbers is easiest to understand. So in this case, we'll talk about what to do if you had a $5,000 marketing budget that you're looking to create a plan for. If that number seems way too high, you can always scale this down proportionally. And if it seems too low and you're working at a much larger company, the same principles will apply. You can just scale these up and learn faster, or you'll get to step 2 sooner than you would if you only had $5,000. But regardless, this is a framework that I have used personally for companies that are just getting off the ground all the way to companies that are, Fortune 100 companies. Let's go through a quick overview of what exactly we're trying to do with this plan. So generally when companies are creating marketing plans, one of two things is going on. Either the company hasn't done any marketing and is looking to get started, so you want to create a plan, or the company's done some marketing in the past and doesn't feel like it's organized. So someone is tasked with creating a plan so that there's a little bit more structure going on. There are other use cases for creating a plan, but these are the two most common ones. In both of these cases, and for every other case that would lead you to this video to create a marketing plan, I think it's important to note that the goal of this is not to set up a permanent plan for your company. It's crazy to think that you'll be able to do this. You're putting way too much pressure on yourself, and marketing will give you instant data back. So instead of coming up with this plan that we're going to use for the next 3 years or 5 years, what we're really trying to do is come up with a plan for using this $5,000 effectively so that we can then unlock all of this data and come up with a more sophisticated plan during round 2. So marketing plans are not permanent. They are constantly evolving or changing based on the data that you're getting back. And all we're trying to do right now is make the most out of this first foray into marketing so that all future ones are better informed. And finally, I know you're probably sitting there saying to yourself, like, how is this marketing plan that we're working through going to apply to my specific business? And that is a totally valid question. But in my experience, setting up your first marketing plan, whether you're a direct-to-consumer business or a B2B business, generally follows the same type of framework. And that would be $2,500 of the $5,000 allocated to digital marketing, $1,000 allocated to influencer or affiliate type marketing, $1,000 allocated to grassroots marketing, and then $500 for materials and development. And I think as we go through each of these, you'll see exactly why this makes sense. Before we get into the fun stuff, we need to make sure that tracking is working. Digital marketing is going to be the first place where we allocate most of the budget. And one of the reasons for that is we're going to get instant feedback on how much a customer costs. But in order to get that feedback, we need to make sure that the tracking is working correctly. So step 1 of our plan, and if you're not technical, this is not your responsibility, I would just flag it and make sure it's completed before you get started with the rest, is to implement all tracking. If you're using Google Analytics, make sure that's set up correctly. If you're using Shopify, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, get those pixels installed. And talk to the people who are in charge of this, generally like a web developer or like someone who's helping on the programming side for marketing, and they'll give you the all clear that everything is set up that you need and you can get started marketing. Some things that you can do to make sure all of this is tracking correctly: you can look at revenue, sessions, new visitors, email acquisitions, total orders, and just make sure that looks like what's actually happening in the business. And if that feels good to you and you're able to validate it, then you should feel pretty comfortable moving into step 2. Now, the budget's relatively high for digital marketing because you're looking to use this budget to try multiple channels. And you're doing this for good reason. Digital marketing is going to be the place that you can get your benchmark for how much a customer costs. It gives you instant feedback, you know how much you spent. Ideally, you have tracking in place where you can track an order back to the channel that it came from, and this will help you answer one of the most important questions of your marketing plan, which is how much does it cost to acquire a customer? Of this $2,500, I would recommend that you allocate about $1,000 to Facebook and Instagram, and that's one thing, $1,000 to Google or Bing, search engines, and $500 to TikTok or other channels that you think could work, like Reddit and Snapchat. Ultimately, what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna compare all these different channels so that you feel like you know which one you can acquire users on for the lowest cost. But in order to get there, we wanna test. So let's look at Facebook specifically. Of this 1,000, you could test 5 different audiences for $200 each. You could get a couple different ads in the mix there. And by the end of this $1,000, you'll see which audience is performing the best, and you'll see which ad is performing the best. And you've come a long way now in figuring out where you're gonna head if you were to scale your budget on Facebook. Not only that, of the 1,000, you now have a pretty good test of what your lowest cost per new customer is. And you can use that and you can compare it to Google and TikTok. And of course, after this whole marketing plan is done, you're going to take this information and you can use it for phase 2. And you can say, well, Google did the best, so we're going to allocate most of the digital budget to Google. And I know we're getting a little technical, so I'm going to back up to what you can write in your plan, which is you just want to use part of this $5,000 budget to test digital marketing. And your goal of this is to understand what a cost per acquisition is. That's going to be the blank that you fill out at the end of this plan. You may need a little bit of help to execute on the digital marketing side, but the next couple can be all you, and this is where your creativity can really shine. Over the last couple years, influencers have become a really great way to acquire new customers. So for you in your marketing plan, what I would do is come up with a few different influencers that you think can best represent your brand or reach the audience that you want to reach. Write these down, and then you can message their teams and see how much it costs to get a promoted post or a video or a shout out in their YouTube video. The $1,000 won't get you in touch with the biggest influencers, but it will get you pretty far. And again, this is where you can be creative with it. Your marketing plan can include one influencer that you really believe in and you do a $1,000 partnership with them, whether that's a big creator and they're going to do one video, or a decent sized creator and maybe you lock in 3 different videos. Or maybe you go after smaller creators and you do $200 per creator and you try 5 different ones. This is going to be totally in your court, and it should be something that you feel comfortable and excited about doing. And I should say, the more specific you can get about this in your plan, the more excited everyone's going to be. Be thoughtful with this. There are no wrong answers here, and it should be a pretty fun exercise for you as you're thinking about your brand and who you want to connect with on the influencer side. The last place where I would allocate some of your budget is grassroots marketing. So people often immediately think that the majority of this $5,000 budget should go to Facebook and Instagram and Google because those are the most scalable platforms. But in reality, you're just looking for things that work first, and then you'll try and scale them. Grassroots marketing is the term that I would use to catch things like if you have a wine brand, having a wine party, or if you sell a cool product, going to the store in town and asking if you could feature your product on their shelves. It's doing these things that are not scalable at all, but could be really effective at generating buzz and hype around your brand. People sleep on these, but businesses can really be made with the grassroots marketing. The last part of this budget is creative development. And this is because the budgets that I laid out for each of these channels should be the actual budget that you're spending on this to get a read on the channel. So if there is creative development that is required, for example, making Facebook ads, this would give you some leeway so that you're able to get those produced and it won't detract from anything else that's going on in your marketing plan. We covered a lot of stuff quickly, so let's summarize it as simply as possible. The goal of this marketing plan is for you to figure out which channel allows you to acquire customers most efficiently. The goal is definitely not to put in place some rules that you're going to use for the next few years. This will last months or maybe a year until you get that read and you feel confident that you're ready to scale up your marketing budgets, in which case you can write marketing plan phase 2. I feel confident that this will work for almost any business, but where things really get creative or fun or expressive is how your individual business approaches all 3 of these things. Which influencers you partner with, how you handle your grassroots marketing, how you're promoting your different page posts or ads directly on Facebook or TikTok. If you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comments section. Otherwise, have fun when you're doing these marketing plans and best of luck. Oh, I forgot to say one more thing. If you like these videos, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Thank you.